So what I have here is a more successful rendition of a Dark Souls sounding soundtrack that I've been trying to make. Since my last video, I failed at it, and I want to redo the approach that I was looking at. So I watched some piano tutorials on YouTube for Dark Souls 3 soundtrack, since I really like the harmonies that they had there. And this piano piece, or this at least structure, was inspired by the Abyss Watchers and Yorm, with at least how they write their chord structure. So this was written in C minor scale. And let's see, I create points of tension. I guess you'll be able to hear it using C sharp and where else? I guess there's not too much tension in B sometimes, just so I can go, it can go back to C. But here's what it sounds like. And I use this piano as a way to, you know, figure out which chords and melodies are going on top of each other at the same time and if they sound good or not. And it does sound a bit weird in piano at first, but it'll sound a lot better in orchestral. You just need to, I guess, bear with the process. So I'm still practicing, you know, staying in key, but then going out of key a little bit to get that Dark Souls feel. And that's what I've been trying to do with this part. You know, it goes to the A. There is the B, which is out of the scale, or out of the key, as well as some C sharps. I mean, it sounds awkward at first, but it has a sort of like darkish mood to it. And because it's sort of a lot more somber track, I chose not to go with any brass. So this piece consists primarily of choir, men's and women's choir, and strings, a whole string orchestra. So this is what I have so far, and I'll break it down to you guys afterwards. But from before, this is a way better improvement, and I'm a lot happier with this piece. As well as I did something really cool here, where I had this end part. It's supposed to come right after here. This piece, or this transition section, is so that this whole track can loop afterwards. So it starts to loop right over here, because a lot of the, you know, It's combat music. You're playing this, you don't know how long you're going to be fighting the boss for. The music's got to loop somewhere. So over here is the intro, which sets the mood. And then over here, you can see it seamlessly loops back to the beginning right here. Seamless loop. So cool. Let's see, let's go into the actual composition of it. So over here is the piano, and then I'll be showing you different sections which correlate to the different instruments. So here is the men's choir, and this, as you can see, plays a lot of the bassy notes. If it's playing by itself without the women's choir, I'll have it do all the bass notes, or all the notes together, sorry. So we get the harmonies with the men's choir. And now that the woman's choir comes in, which is over here, and then here's the woman's choir, which does all the higher notes. Really cool stuff. And then here, oh yeah, the bell is just playing C all the time because that is our root note of the scale. I want to have a really strong root note so that I can know where the tension is going and how to resolve it. So it's not really a complex technique, it's just something to get my ground basis on and my foundation of music writing so that eventually I can do the complex shit that Dark Souls music usually does. So this is sort of just a stepping stone to what I plan to do in the future, hopefully. Here, the bass strings, similar thing. Just C, and then, you know, following the scale, or following whatever bass notes are playing as well. Violins 1. I had this sort of follow the choir as well, which is what Dark Souls 3 music does a lot. They have the violin mimic exactly what the choir is doing. There you go. That way we can get the modulation in there as well. So here you can see that it is mimicking the women's choir. Let's have that play at the same time. So I wanted this part to be more somber, so I didn't have the violin playing at that point. But it comes back here. That comes in a bit abrupt. There we go. So the velocities here indicate how strongly the attack comes in, since it's sustained, and it controls the dynamics of the sustain with the modulation wheel. So many things working together. I love how, let me see what plugin this is. This is CineStrings. I love how CineStrings does theirs. I think the cello is just similar to the bass strings. Yeah. Really subtle. I don't want it to be the focus. Viola. This is playing some of the midpoints. Just have some harmonies with it. Very similar to what the violin 2 is playing. And here's the transition piece that I can go into right here as well. And that's kind of it. I think that's all the instruments I used for it. It is a more somber sounding track, which is why it reminded me of the Dark Souls 3 Abyss Watchers a lot. Especially with how the choir, let me go back to the choir. The choir is really cool. I'm really proud of that. This is how the choir goes in and out of each other. So when the men's choir is playing, they don't always sync up, and they're way different. Really makes them feel like they're working together instead of the same plugin. Which in fact I didn't do this time. This is usually I just do two different the same plugin, and I have one piano roll controlling the men's and women's. But here I separated them, so they're two complete different plugins with different vowels. So I had to make sure the vowels lined up with each other to the men's. So like if the women's were playing like mo, and then I had to have the men, they don't have a mo, so it's more like glow or do, and sort of it can have like the O sound while they play it with each other. So they're not going to be completely the same syllable or vowel playing, but they are pretty close, at least, sound decent. And it's just so cool how different, how this, they play into each other. And I want to get more into the habit of, writing out specific chord progressions. Here I was just winging it, but at least staying in key. So I do want to find a middle ground between winging it and writing out specific chords with specific intentions. Because I feel like I'm still just writing things out and then playing by ear. So I do want to keep practicing and get a better grasp of music theory. Because of how cool the song is, I'm going to have another outro cinematic of the song playing and some boss fight happening. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.